Hello and namaskar viewers, I am Sanjeev Pandya welcoming you to this week's episode of the Tax Talk with AJ right here on ITV Gold, and the show is brought to you by Size CPS Services, a professional accounting firm with multiple locations in state of New Jersey, but they can assist you wherever you are in the US for any tax matter, personal tax, corporate tax matter, or for any business matter. If you ever need virtual CEO, CFO, payroll services, bookkeeping services, accounting services, they are completely experienced to help you in any one of those categories. Do reach out to them by calling 908-888-8900, and their website is sizecpsservices.com. This show, the Tax Talk, we bring the tax conversation, and of course the expert to do that is Mr. AJ Kumar of Size CPS Services. He is a CPA, MBA, and CBA with Size CPS Services with over 25 years of experience. Joins us every week right here on ITV Gold to advise us and guide us when it comes to tax matters, complicated tax matters. And that's what he makes it very easy for us to understand. AJ, good to have you. And thank you for your time in joining the show.
Absolutely.
And we'd like to thank Science CPS Services also for sponsoring the show. We are in United States of America, and USA's economy, USA's the powerful position in the world is built on two of the most important things, which is small businesses and immigration. Because this country allows immigrants to come in, and this country allows an opportunity for small businesses. And from small businesses, they grow into larger businesses. Many corporations in the USA, many companies, they were founded by immigrants, and those companies are in the Fortune 500 list of the companies in the USA. That means I'm trying to figure out, and I'm trying to share it with you, that small businesses and immigration goes together when it comes to US. But, immigration, when you talk about immigration, obviously you talk about immigrants and their visas and everything. That how does their visa work to come to US from anywhere in the world and start a small business? So this is the topic that we're going to discuss today, and carefully, step by step, I believe AJ is going to guide us and inform us how does that work.
Absolutely.
So AJ, tell me, small businesses and immigrants, they go hand in hand.
Sanjeevji, absolutely. So if you take a step back, many of us are immigrants. Even either we are the immigrant, the first generation, or our parents were the immigrant. I mean, a lot of our community came here very recently, in last 10 to 30 years. And a lot of us have small businesses, maybe accounting business, grocery store, pharmacy stores, auto shops, wholesaler, retails. We all created our own success story after coming to this country legally as an immigrant. So right now, the way this whole political conditions is going, a lot of small businesses are struggling with the immigration policies, with the immigration situation, with the fear about ICE immigration. So this show is more about the impact of newly made immigration policies on a small business. More importantly, what do we see happening in the short term, let's say 6 months to a year, versus long term, 3 to 5 years, what these immigration policies will impact on small businesses in short term versus long term. And as a small business, what can you do now in next 3 to 6 months to protect yourself against these policies, to have your business surviving, thriving in the long run? That's the idea here.
Okay, all right. So now let's talk about the categories when it comes to immigrants. So in these categories, very popular categories, AJR, there's such as F1, H1, H1B, J1, and L1. So let's go step by step and discuss those categories and how small businesses for immigrants, the rules, the regulations, or the criteria fall into each of those categories.
Absolutely, Sanjeevji. So a lot of when we talk about the legal immigration, when we talk about these visa categories, F1, OPT, J1, H1, L1, we are generally focusing on a certain section of the immigration where we have these professional help, let's say the accounting companies, the attorneys, doctors, especially the IT consulting companies, they have a lot of demand for H1, L1 type of people, even the STEM OPT, F1 type of people. But we are not looking at the retail store, the auto shop, the jewelry store, the wholesaler. A lot of those people, restaurants, there are a lot of small businesses, especially in the retail sector, that are heavily dependent on immigrant workers. Consider loan moving companies. You cannot run a loan moving company without having these
Immigrants being
working
part of that,
for
yes,
you,
absolutely,
right?
yes. I've not seen any lawn movers company not having any immigrants in there.
Absolutely, 100%. And if you go back, and please, I encourage our viewers to try going back to the kitchen, the back section of any restaurant, and you will see how many people are there behind the scene, immigrants, working to create the delicious food that you like on the table.
Correct. And the other category is construction companies.
100%. So there are a lot of businesses, and the way the current system is working, when you see these ICE raids or when you see an immigrant story that somebody was pushed out of this country for whatever reason, good or not so good, it creates fear, it creates apprehension. We know several real examples that on Oak Tree Road in the heart of New Jersey, in the Indian market, that there was an ICE team came over, and the whole Oak Tree Road, anybody in the business, legally there or not so legally there, they all left the shop. All the workers left only because somebody in the neighborhood heard something about ICE. So there is a lot of fear, a lot of apprehensions around these policies that as a small business you have to work around. So take another example, Sanjeevji. As a small business, once somebody gave you a social security number to be on the payroll, a lot of small businesses did not care, did not mind. They did not verify if the social security number is real, right, and if the social security number truly belongs to this person who is claiming that this is their social security number. But now with the new policies, the onus belongs to the business owner. I mean, not that it was not there, but nobody was checking it. Now with the increased fear, these small business owners are penalized with heavy penalties for not hiring somebody or not doing their due diligence, not checking if this person had the real social security number or not. That's where the e-verify concept came in. I mean, if e-verify concept mainly means that the small businesses have to create an entry in the system, in the database, that this business can check whose social security number is real, whose social security number is not real, and this process is referred as e-verification. So there are e-verify companies, and this policy, this rule was never enforced as such, but now a lot of small businesses are being penalized for hiring STEM OPT, and they were not e-verified companies. Again, the show is less about helping you understand the immigration visas or the policies. The show is more about, as a small business, what you need to do to understand the current policies and to make necessary adjustment in your business to make sure you stay alive in these difficult times.
Yeah, very, very, very thorough detail that you have mentioned about these categories. So now, can we go into each categories and to say that if immigrants start business in those categories, do they have to pay taxes? Will there be taxes impact? And the Social Security issue that you just mentioned, right? E-verification of Social Security number. And let's say if Social Security number is wrong one, which could happen, in many cases it would happen. That means those immigrants, they don't pay any taxes, right? Whatever company, corporation, organization they work for, they don't pay any taxes.
Well, no, that's not how it works, Ajay.
Okay.
So take a step back first. Let's go to the social security part first, and then we'll go to the visas
Correct.
and the business
Yes,
startup.
please.
So if somebody gave you a social security number and you put that person on the payroll, there are some taxes that are deducted at source. Social security is deducted at source. Certain income taxes are deducted at source against that social security number, and that money is being paid to the government system, to the state, to the IRS directly. So even with the not so correct social security number, even with the wrong social security number, there are certain tax deductions that are happening, that are being paid to the government system, IRS and the state, on a periodic basis. As soon as the payroll is run, certain taxes are paid. Now, if these people are filing their personal taxes or not, that's up to them. They should be filing it, but if they don't file it, that does not mean the system is not collecting the payroll tax, the social security tax, and the Medicare taxes.
Okay.
So the system is collecting some taxes, but the system is not able to connect the dots because this person is not filing the personal taxes. But now what the rule is, and it always was there, now what they're enforcing is that the business owner, the small business owner, has the obligation to verify if the social security number belongs to this person and if the social security number is right or not. Now, coming back to the various visa type, and if you can start a business, and
Yes.
if you have to pay taxes by starting that business. So this country does not require a visa type to start a business. Actually, you don't have to be here in this country to start a business. You can be in India, never been in US.
All right. So you were saying that immigrants, they can start a business even though they can be anywhere in the world and they can still own 100% of the business in
Absolutely.
US
It's very,
and
very
pay
common.
taxes accordingly also, even being outside US.
Taxes is a function of income. That's why we call it income tax. So irrespective of the ownership, if the business has income, the business pays the income tax. But you don't have to be having a certain visa to start the business. You don't have to be here in the US.
I got
If you
that.
take a step back, especially for the L1 visa, the L1 visa is intra-company, not inter-company, not
Yes.
between the two companies. It's intra-company, within the same company. So one of the requirement is that the US company will be owned by the Indian company or the Indian company will be owned by the US company. The typical structure is the Indian company, a successful company, creates a branch office in US, which is 100% owned by the Indian company, and have the executives of the Indian company coming over here to US on L1 visa. In this case, this US business is 100% owned by the Indian company or the proprietors of the Indian company or the owners of the Indian company. So there is no such visa requirement. The visa requirement belongs to being able to work for the US business. So just because somebody has created a business in US does not mean it gives them the permit, the authorization to work under their own business. So starting a business is owning a company. So if you want to own a company, let's say something in Japan, you want to buy one share, or somebody from India buys one share of Microsoft. Now technically they own part of Microsoft. Can they work for Microsoft? Probably not. So owning a company does not require any sort of visa. Working for that company, even your own company, will require a visa.
Okay, all right. So just to, before we go into the break, let's just wrap it up. Is that, immigrants can start a business no matter where they are in the world, and they can do a business here. They can own 100% of that company, and then they can pay business taxes as it is as usual. Undocumented workers, and if they are in a business, they have that the company employer identification number, and they pay business taxes accordingly with that TIN number, correct?
They can get a TIN number.
TIN number.
TIN number is basically, it's called tax identification number.
Exactly.
It has nothing to do with immigration. TIN number is meant for people who need to pay taxes. TIN number is typically given to dependents of a legally immigrant person. Let's say if somebody comes here on H1 and this person has 2 children. These 2 children needs to be claimed as dependent on this person's tax return. But these 2 children do not qualify for any other visa or social security number. In that case, the 2 children will be given a TIN number for tax benefit only, for tax purpose only, just because they don't qualify for social security number.
All right. Okay, with that note, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation, and we'll definitely touch upon 2 of the most categories when it comes to immigration, H1 and H1B. That's all coming up right after these messages. Hello and welcome back to the second half of the Tax Talk with AJ. Today, in this episode, of course, as you know, that we are talking about small businesses and immigration. But before that, most important thing, this part of the show's gold sponsor is Suhag Jewelers. Suhag Jewelers with one of the most beautiful showrooms on Oak Tree Road in Islin, New Jersey. And they carry all the beautiful varieties of gold, silver, platinum jewelries at Suhag Jewelers. And Suhag Jewelers, being a gold sponsor, we also bring you the gold prize of the day right here in our show, and that prize will be revealed by Mr. AJ of Science CPA Services.
Absolutely, Sanjeevji. So the London PM gold price was $33.32 per ounce. The spot price is $33.25. The gold prices have gone down by about $33 overnight. If you take a step back and compare last 4 years gold rate, if you take January 1st, 2020 gold rate that we mentioned the last week episode as well, was $15.37. So the gold rate have gone up more than twice in last 3-4 years, and the stock market has not done that well. Gold price are going to stay positive, going to stay up. So we are expecting the gold investment to be a safer investment compared to stock market that has been seeing a lot of fluctuations.
Absolutely. Gold investment is the safest investment. Visit Suhag Jewelers showroom at your earliest convenience, and you will definitely enjoy shopping at Suhag Jewelers for gold, silver, or platinum jewelry of your choice. And we thank Suhag Jewelers for being a gold sponsor of the Tax Talk with AJ right here on ITV Gold. All right, moving on to this topic, small businesses and immigration. Right before the break, I mentioned that in this second half, we're going to talk about H1, H1B, and B1, B1, 2. But skip H1. There's no H1. I just very quickly say that. So we're going to talk about H1B and B1 and B2. These are some of the most popular categories that our South Asian immigrants, they follow. So let's begin with H1B. So when someone comes here on H1B visa, of course, they have obligation to the workplace, but then they also invest into business and they own the businesses.
Absolutely. So from a business perspective, once you come here on H1, you typically get a social security number. And as we discussed in the first segment, you don't have to have a social security number to start a business. So the question that we are typically asked, can I start a business on H1? Or for that matter, H4. Yes, you can start a business on any type of visa. You do not need a visa to start a business in this country. You don't have to be here in this country to start a business. The caveat is, what we want to highlight, just because you started a business here does not mean you can work for your business. That does not give you the work authorization to work for your own business. When we talk about H1B, typically H1B are employer bound. Somebody has sponsored your visa. Not that you don't have the right to change the employer. You can always transfer H1B, but that transfer has to happen through immigration, through proper applications before you can start working on that business. Now, can you start your own business and can your own business sponsor the H1B? Probably yes, depending on the history, depending on how much income you have in that business, depending on how much revenue, how much profit you are showing. Just because you started the business yesterday and you want to transfer the H1, probably not. But if you have a successful business, a consistent growing business, then you should be able to transfer your own H1 to your own business.
Okay, so that's for the H1B. Now let's go into B1B, B1, B2 categories, right? Now B1, B2 categories, as the name suggests, is for a business categories. It's for business visa, right? Business visa 1, business visa 2. Now, the confusing part is it's a business visa, but they can't really start a business in the USA. They are just the visitors for the business matter, correct?
Well, B1, B2 is typically a visitor/temporary business visa. Now, can you start a business? Again, you don't have to have B1 or B2 to start a business. Can a B1, B2 person start a business? Sure. Meaning you don't even have to be here. You don't even have to have a B1, B2 visa. You can always start a business even when you are in India without coming over here.
But then, my question is that let's say if they arrive in US and they see an opportunity because they arrive on a business visa and they're business visitors, they see an opportunity while they're here on a very valid legal B1, B2 visa, can they start a business and entity and everything and then they'll go back to the country where they came from and manage the business from there?
Yes, you can. And again, you don't have to be coming here to start the business. You can have a business manage it from a foreign country, manage it from India. Let's say you came here on a visitor visa. Now you suddenly see a great opportunity, a rental property. You can start your own LLC, start your own company, buy this property, and then go back to India and keep collecting the rent and keep managing this property from India. So that there is absolutely no issue in you having a company over here in this country without any visa.
Okay, now, so that's a B1, B2. There's nothing else to cover on a B1, B2 after H1B visa.
No, absolutely. So B1, B2 is typically a visitor slash temporary business visa. There are a lot of situations, a lot of issues we are seeing with the B1, B2 visa. Recently, a lot of visas are being not granted, especially if the angle is business side, business sponsored visa. They are going through a lot of scrutiny. But B1, B2 also qualify for visitor visa. If he's coming through a family, B1, B2 type of situation, they are still getting approved right now.
Okay. All right. Now, from the neighboring countries, US's neighboring countries, Canada and Mexico, right? There is another visa category called TN visa. Are they really attractive visa category for the Canadians and Mexicans to come to US and be part of business or something?
Absolutely, Sanjeevji. So TN visa, which mainly comes from Canada, Mexico areas, also grants similar benefits, not exactly same, but similar benefits as of H1B visa. So they have the right to work. But again, from a business perspective, you have to know who you are hiring. What if these people are legally here? If the social security number, the visa type that they are claiming that they have, is there a way for you to check those things? And for that, you need to have your business e-verified, especially in the professional sector. Especially if you have an IT consulting company, medical office, a dentist office, in those cases, it's very important to make sure that visas are verified properly.
Okay. All right. So these are some of the popular categories that we discussed, or basically you guided us on those categories when it comes to, immigrants visa and the small businesses. Now let's just try to, summarize the whole thing, what we have discussed. Number one thing is that immigrants doing a business while they are in US, or if somebody doing a business overseas, 100% still owner of their business in the US versus a citizen of this country doing a business in here. There are no differences when it comes to taxes, right? They all pay the same taxes, or there are some differences?
Well, it depends on the business type. Most the foreigners are typically allowed an LLC or C Corp only. As a US resident, you're also allowed S corporation, proprietorship, and other type of structures that you have. A lot of S corporation or LLC are flow through entity where the business does not pay any taxes. The profit flows into the personal side. So there is a single taxation. When you come to foreigner, when you have a C corp type of structure, the business pays the taxes first. And if any money is being withdrawn by the shareholders, they end up paying the taxes twice. So generally speaking, and it depends on case-by-case basis, a foreigner may end up paying more taxes than a local domestic person.
Okay. You mean a U.S. citizen?
A U.S.
Okay,
resident.
all right. One of the reasons for me to ask you that question is obviously because you are a CPA, CVA, and MBA with Science CPA Services. You would guide an immigrant person walking into your office, and if they want to start a business, you would guide them in the right direction to what kind of business entity that they can start, what are the pluses and minuses and such things like that.
Absolutely. So we are not an immigration firm.
No, I know that. I'm just saying.
We advise people in terms of what type of business they can form and what are the pros and cons of each business structure.
Correct. That's exactly what I said, because once they start a business, they would have to file a tax return and the business taxes to be paid, right? So when they file a tax return, obviously they don't have SS number because they're not in the US legally or whatever the reason may be. So they can file a tax return with TIN number?
Yes, absolutely. So tax identification number is what we call our TIN number or ITIN number, individual tax identification number. From a tax perspective, is as good as social security number.
Okay. And, are there any limitations or rules about hiring workers in the USA for this foreign category business owners?
Well, a business is a business, foreign owned business or a local owned business, they should all be careful who they are hiring. the person who they are hiring should have proper work authorization, a proper social security number. They need to decide if this person is going to be a 1099er, a consultant, contractor, and or an employee. If this person is an employee, they should be doing the e-verification. They should be verifying the social security number is right. They should be putting this person on proper payroll. They should have proper withholding. They should have this conversation with this employee directly. It's very important to maintain proper records, W-4 form, I-9 form, immigration form. You need to maintain a separate folder, separate file for each employee, just in case if somebody wants to check what verification you did, you have something to show that these are the processes, these are the policies. You should have an employee handbook. And again, all these things were there earlier. It's not new, but they were not enforced. It's getting very important for a small business to maintain the employee structure properly and diligently.
So to understand, this is a very important thing. Someone lives outside US and owns a business here in US. And when you say from hiring workers to managing the companies and following all the rules and regulations, God forbid if the business is into, I don't know, just manufacturing or anything, and if OSHA rules applies to that kind of business and everything, they need to have very experienced managerial staff and executive positions also who can oversee the business while the owner is over there, meaning bank accounts, payrolls, paying the bills and everything else. So, the business owner over there have to make sure that these are the most qualified, capable people running a business, correct?
You're right. It depends on business to business. A lot of these things can be managed online, remotely through computer, but nonetheless, it's your business, it's your responsibility. So having the right staff, right expertise is very important, making sure all the compliance is done, taxes are filed, all the filings are maintained properly. This is your responsibility. Not that it can't be done remotely. Some of this can be done remotely, some of this has to be done in person. And you have to make the call to have the right expertise for it.
Okay. Last question, and we literally have 1 minute to go to. This situation, small businesses and immigrants and then U.S. citizens and small businesses, where do you see the future of U.S.? Will immigrants have more opportunities to do business, or will there be a setback, or anything that you can share?
Well, I think for the short term, like anything else, once you have an open system, it gets misused. It gets too far. So I'm not saying that there is no undocumented workers in the system. There are some, but when you try to fix it, there will be some pain, short-term frustration. But in the long term, I think it's going to be good for the small business. The small businesses who maintains proper records, proper books, proper employee handbook, proper documentation, proper compliances, they are going to win in the long run.
Okay, very good. With that note, we come to an end of this week's episode of the Tax Talk with AJ. Excuse me. Take two. Very well, AJ. Thank you so very much. And with that note, we come to an end of this week's episode, Tax Talk with AJ. And AJ with Science CPA Services, CVA, CPA, and MBA. These are the degrees. And of course, Science CPA Services, qualified, knowledgeable, experience on hand. CPAs will help you for any business or any tax-related matters. And we thank Science CPA Services for sponsoring the show. And they can be reached at 908-888-8900. Their website is sciencecpaservices.com, and we are also very thankful to the gold sponsor of this show, the Tax Talk with AJ, and the gold sponsor is Suhag Jewelers, a beautiful showroom, one of the oldest and the finest jewelers in town. Suhag Jewelers, right here on Oak Tree Road in Islin. AJ, thank you so very much for your time. And of course, we are in the 4th of July holiday weekend. Wishing you all happy 4th of July, happy Independence Day. Remember, we're celebrating America's 249th birthday. And next year is going to be a bigger celebration across the nation, wall to wall, when we celebrate America's 250th birthday. So get ready for that next year, and you make sure that you have a safe and peaceful and joyous weekend ahead. Until we meet again, same place, same time, take care of yourself. So long.
Thank you.